good afternoon, everyone. It's a great privilege and honour to be here on this occasion to mark the launch in Northern Ireland of Speak Up, a hugely timely publication. There are religions that are inward-looking. Religions such as Zoroastrianism, for example, do not actively seek converts or wish to persuade others of the asserted truths of their faith. Indeed, in traditional Zoroastrianism, only a child of two Zoroastrian parents can be Zoroastrian. The contrast with Christianity could not be more striking. A Christian must preach the gospel. A Christian cannot keep Christianity to himself. A Christian who doesn't spread the good news acts inconsistently with his or her Christian faith. There is no one way to spread the good news. Good preaching is often done outside the pulpit, and the best preaching is sometimes wordless. A sermon, indeed, may on occasion be absolutely the worst way to communicate Christian truth. I remember seeing advertisements in old magazines in my grandparents' house, and these were advertisements for chewing gum. They put the exclamation, "certainly not," before a picture of a formal gathering of people in faultless evening dress, and the implication being that no one would dream of using chewing gum on such an occasion. Now, even though I remember that advertisement very well, and for what it's worth, I think the message is a good one, one shouldn't chew gum on formal social occasions, I can't think that it was the most successful of ad campaigns, and I'm pretty sure that Don Draper, for one, wouldn't have approved. That advertisement comes to my mind quite strongly today, because the obligation that we have as Christians to communicate the truths we ourselves have received is limited, of course, by the obligation, Christian obligation, to respect the liberty of others, and as well as that, it is limited or regulated by a prudent judgment about the best way in which we communicate these truths. We don't force anyone to eat chewing gum, and you don't offer chewing gum to someone at a formal dinner. My sense, however, is that Christians run a much greater risk of not spreading the good news when they can and should, rather than doing so in a way that they shouldn't or at an unfavourable time. One of the great things about the Speak Up resource is that, as well as containing sound and accessible advice about the rule of law, it also contains a timely exhortation to Christians to live up to their obligation to preach the gospel. In a sermon entitled Religion of Weariness to the Natural Man, which includes the words, "It is a weariness to the natural man to serve God humbly and in obscurity," John Henry Newman, in the words of his biographer, insisted, quoting with such a deeply pessimistic realism on the gospel's inherent lack of appeal for fallen man. No Christian is under any illusions about the existence of an easy welcome for Christianity in a fallen world. How can it be otherwise? We are all aware, I think, of how we can all fall short of what is asked of us, and of how we can introduce Christianity before others by our acts and our words. Preaching the gospel may, in contemporary society, mean declining to deny the gospel or declining to act inconsistently with what the gospel teaches. The gospel is not now popular. Perhaps the gospel has never really been popular, but at different times a larger public than now has professed to esteem it. And there are around us observable and shifting landscapes of overt hostility, disdainful condescension, or patronising softness at the anticipated deathbed. As well as the obligation about which Speak Up reminds us, and about which Speak Up advises, there is another obligation which is subordinate to that of spreading the good news. That's the obligation to assert and defend the right to spread the good news. That obligation takes the practical form of doing what is possible to ensure that we have a polity that adequately respects religious liberty, which accrues to the benefit of everyone. Looking back from the present vantage point at the historical development of this realm, we may be seeing the Christian colour drained from the constitution of the United Kingdom, but we do not as yet live in secular monochrome. There remains an established church in England, an established church in Scotland, and the institution of the monarchy has an unmistakably Christian context. While of course there is a conversation to be had about the role of established churches, it is worth remarking that the reason for disestablishment of the Church of Ireland in 1869 and of the established Church in Wales in 1914 was not some secularising imperative, but the policy imperative of being visibly third other faiths in those countries. The protections in the Government of Ireland Act 1914 and the Government of Ireland Act 1920 were not there from any anti-religious sentiment in the legislatures that enacted them, but they were there from a concern that different Christian groups on this island wouldn't behave fairly towards one another. And it has to be acknowledged that persons professing Christianity on this island have very often not behaved well towards other persons professing Christianity on this island. But today, the acknowledgement of Christian motivation in policy making or judging is viewed as presumptively suspect, if not worse. One might be forgiven for thinking that Christianity is permitted as a harmless eccentricity, rather like collecting garden gnomes, but it has never, such as the contemporary secular orthodoxy, been permitted to stray beyond the confines of the purely private sphere. Indeed, in the case of private life, family life, its role even in the private context is often regarded with suspicion, if not disapproval. Now, there is no legitimacy, I think, for us in wallowing in nostalgia for a golden age that never was, in which government and Christianity walked hand in hand. In Northern Ireland, I think there is one very hopeful sign in the uncoupling of nationalism from Catholicism and the uncoupling of unionism from a generic Protestantism. Within my own community, there is, I think, to be seen the emergence of a distinction between a purely cultural Catholicism, which can continue to be bound up with Irish nationalism, and believing Catholicism, which discovers, perhaps much to its surprise, that its values and interests can be best represented outside the modern expressions of Irish nationalism. I happen to think that's probably good for both nationalism and unionism, to detach from any presumptive harbour in any particular faith community. But more importantly, I think it's good for our common Christianity that such an uncoupling or detachment enables our common Christianity to be better heard and better understood. Christians of different denominations in Northern Ireland can, certainly from an historical perspective, and perhaps even now, be analogised to a group engaged in a good deal of angry finger-pointing and mutual recrimination, while they have become oblivious to the large hostile crowd that is gathered around them. In the Ashers case before the Court of Appeal, I made reference in written submissions to something said about late 4th century Constantinople, at least as far as described by St. Gregory of Nyssa. This is St. Gregory. It, 4th century Constantinople, is a city full of earnest theological disputes, everyone talking and exclaiming in squares, in the marketplaces and the crossroads, in the alleyways. If you ask anyone for change of silver, he will debate with you whether the Son is begotten or unbegotten. If you ask for the price of a loaf, you will receive the answer, the Father is greater, the Son is less. If you ask whether the bath is prepared, you will be solemnly told that there was nothing before the Son was created. I return to chewing gum. In the culture of 4th century Constantinople, there was nothing offensive about these kind of theological exchanges breaking into everyday life, though I think the implication is St. Gregory thought they were a little excessive. But one might wonder if anyone buying bread was persuaded by the Arianism of his baker. To do this now in 21st century Belfast, Dublin or London would be, I think, to trivialise or debase the truths that one was trying to express. It would be like chewing gum at a formal dinner. Now my point in using that quotation wasn't to suggest to the Court of Appeal that we should debate the nature of the Trinity with our bakers, but to emphasise that at the centre of the Ashers case is a dispute about highly resonant words. Yes, of course, words are a cake, but words charged with political and religious meaning and implications. My view is that the changer of silver, the seller of bread, the bath attendant, as well as those who ice cakes, are as entitled to their religious beliefs and political opinions as other customers, and cannot or should not be compelled to act against them, in particular by expressing the views of others others with which they profoundly disagree. The decision of the Court of Appeal in Ashers represents, for now, the law of the land, but it is not the last word on the subject, and this is a constitutional conversation that needs to continue. Christians won't always win as the world defines a win. In the 11th century epic poem, La Chanson de Roland, the Song of Roland, the hero was killed. He was killed at Roncevaux, the border between France and Spain. But facing death, he boldly asserts, Païen ont tort et chrétien ont droit. Pagans are wrong and Christians are right. That was true even before Roncevaux, and it remained was just as true in 21st century Belfast. Thank you very much.